So I'm about to export this week's version of Letter Engineer that has 2 new levels. But before I do that, I want to show you something I talked about a few weeks ago but didn't really get a chance to show, and that is the game's test suite. The test suite itself hasn't really changed since I made it, but it's been used a lot, and now I can truly show you it in action. So I'm going to show you this really early level in the game. I'm just going to launch it directly. Gives me a tutorial for what challenges are, and I have this little square. So if you don't know how Letter Engineer works, I have as many letters as I want that I can place in these slots. I have to place it in the slots, I can't place them anywhere else. And in this level, I need to build a bridge to get this ball to this flag. So if I write last here, then I run it, it'll fall down, the ball falls on top of it. Nothing much of interest happens. But I can also write another thing here. So let's go with busk. That's a fun word. So then these 2 separate physics objects land on top of each other. I'm closer, but I can't fill in everything here. So maybe let's think of a word L something something B. Dang, I don't know anything like that. So maybe we change this to dusk. And now, like, laid works. And you can see, right, this has to be a valid word vertically as well. Looks like I went over budget, so I'm going to change that to lard, which is going to be cheaper because vowels are more expensive. And if I wanted to, I could fill in this as well, though that puts me over budget. But now I've completed the level. And what I can do is add this to a database, and you can see the little warning. If you ever see this in the game, I forgot to remove it. Please submit the feedback form by pressing escape and tell me to remove it. You're welcome to be as angry as you want, because I really should remember to take that out before I export the game. So I'm going to hit Add to DB, which is my special dev button that adds it to a database of solutions. So one important aspect of this game to me is that the physics are deterministic, because that means if someone else makes the same solution, it's guaranteed to solve the level in the exact same way. For a simple level like that, it isn't too important, but I have some levels where the physics can look pretty dang finicky. So here's a representation of the database that I just added this level to. You can actually see the solution title called lard right there. It just chooses one of the words you used. It tells me what level it's in, and then here's the solution data itself, which is big, JSON object. And then it tells me what challenges I completed, the number of frames it took to complete, the cost, a hash of it for quick comparison, and whether it's deprecated. But you can see here every solution I have to every level, or every solution that I decided to hit the Add Solution button on. And what I can do now is, and you've seen it in my terminal history here, I can basically run a test session with a specific executable of the game and tell it to run quickly. And what that will do is basically open a bunch of instances of the game and run the solutions as quickly as possible. But if I remove this fast flag and change the run test session real quick, and just remove headless, you can see what that actually does. So if I do this, we're gonna see some duplicate music, but every single level in my database is now being loaded and played. Let's see if I can quit this other version. There we go. So here it goes, just showing every solution to every level. But of course I'm not going to show you all of these because that would defeat the purpose of my game. Alright, so now that that's over, I skipped a little bit. We can see all 44 of the solutions in this database have passed. Some levels have more than one solution to them, and when they passed, that doesn't just mean that the level's just completed. It means they completed in the same number of frames in the exact same way. If I were to modify this a little bit, so first I'm going to add back headless, then I also have fast mode. So that took several minutes. I cut out most of it. But if I set this to fast mode, we can now see the same thing happening, but there's no big thing taking up the screen, and it's running a lot faster. So this way, every time I make a change to the game and I'm getting ready to export, I can be 100% confident that all of the previous solutions to all of the levels still work and I haven't broken anything. That's really important when I add new physics mechanics and things like that, to know that nothing else that was in the game before broke. I also have a warning system, so I'm going to change one of these levels. I'm going to say that I'm going to pretend that this level, the first time we ran it, took 60 frames instead of 55. So now I'm going to run it again, and we're going to see a warning on this first one. So the original time is 60, the new time is 55. It's still completed, but it completed faster, which indicates that something changed in the physics system. So now I can go back, look at those solutions, and see what happened. And in this case, what happened is I manually changed it from 60, so it'll be fine to just change it back. And other than that, I can look at the solution history. So this level that I just changed, I can identify it. So pi solution history, and then I call it 5 letters dot stack is the name of the level. And then it's going to tell me all of the times it passed successfully, and then the one time it warninged today. So not only does this help me make sure the game works, but there's other reasons I have this evaluator built in. One of them is something I've mentioned before, that I want to add some online functionality to the game where you can compare your score to others. But in order to make that work, the server you send the scores to has to have some way of evaluating whether a solution is valid. Otherwise, you could send it random nonsense data and it would just blindly accept it. So this gives me a way to run the game headless and determine whether a solution is valid. Oh, and another thing you'll notice is that more of the levels have custom art now. And here are our 2 new levels, which I won't show you. You'll have to play the game for yourself. See you next week!